Good morning. Good morning. It is great to be here with you today. I was told the last time that a secretary had come to this event was John Vicari, which is quite a while ago. And I've known John a long time, and it would make sense as well. So I want you to know that, that I have had a very engaged conversation that's continued with Nate. In fact, I think we met within a couple of weeks of me starting here. And then we have had a number of changes from personnel standpoint within the administration, as happens. New administrations come in, new people come in, but I believe we have assembled a very good team to deal with bikes and pedestrian issues. And I'm very pleased that Eric Brenner had agreed to serve as the chair of our bicycle pedestrian committee. So we're fortunate there. So Curtis Johnson, Curtis here, would you raise your hand, is our internal staff person who's working on all of these issues. And we again are very fortunate to have someone of his abilities to be undertaking this. You know, I was trying to think, how could I show my support of biking? And I thought maybe I could show up in Lycra. And there's only two problems with that. One, I don't own any, and two, it would not be a pretty sight. So I've done you all a favor by deciding to not do that. And I would like to share a quick little story before we get into the meat of all of this. And it sort of talks about surprises. I hope to have a surprise for you later in my remarks. But I can tell you that I only have one daughter, and she got married this last November to an idiot. But I'm lined up for the, walk down the aisle with my daughter, and I'm staring at her, and I'm just realizing how beautiful she is. And I'm looking at her like that, and she looks at me, and she goes, "Daddy, fix your hair. You look like Donald Trump." So it's like, okay, that moment left. But I can tell you this last year on the job has had very many exciting opportunities, I believe, for transportation overall in Maryland. And I also believe that we have made progress within biking community as well. You know, we in 2015 awarded nearly $15 million in grants for critical bicycle, pedestrian, and trail projects. We also put $7 million into the project that was being referred to up on the screen, which is $7 million was put into restoring the Kanehukee. Anyway, it's on the C&O Canal, and we spent $7 million. So we know making investments like this are positive for multimodal transportation. We know that there's benefits for economic development, and to me, it's a great way for us to make investments in a system that clearly there are very passionate supporters of. We also know that partnerships are very important. As we take the dollars that we do have, which are still limited, and how we choose where to invest those that produces the greatest improvements in safety and enjoyment for people who want to use those, those facilities. So, I get it. You can look at me and you can pretty much tell I'm not a bicyclist. I know how to ride one, but that's about it. But we do know, again, as a team, as a very strong team, that bicycling is important to a lot of people. It's part of the transportation system in Maryland, and that's what we have to focus on, is what works here And that's what we stay focused on. The DOT formed at the end of 15 an intermodal working group in which we are bringing all of these modes together to see how we can complement each mode's support of other modes. For instance, if you don't know, we have added bicycle cars to MARC trains, and I believe the last advisory meeting actually held their meeting on the MARC train in the bicycle car. So there'd be an understanding of what is available, and people need to know it's there, and we are leveraging our assets in other modes to support bicycling. The Baltimore Link project, which is this complete transformative overhaul of the transit system in Baltimore, includes a great expansion of bike share facilities that are going to be at various locations. It also has a focus on that last mile. How do we get people from a system to where it is that they want to go? So we also are involved in the assistance with local areas as far as bicycle priority plans. And this is very important, I think, as a future direction, because I believe we're going to have to find the right balance of investments in bicycle ways with alignment with local plans. And right now, there's a lot going on that seems a little helter-skelter. So we will be working with you in order to find the best way to use the limited resources we have for that investment in the facilities that we will be undertaking in coming years. Because we have a huge amount, and I mean huge amount, of construction projects planned for all of our modes. And so we need to find those ways that we can leverage those investments into the benefit of bicycle pedestrians. So, the last item that I would like to address, so you can continue on with your agenda, is that I've heard the issues about crossing the Susquehanna and the fact that the Hatem Bridge is does not allow bicycles to cross it. I want to announce to you that starting July 1, 2016, we will allow bicycles across the Hatem Bridge. So I have directed the Transportation Authority to accommodate bikes in as safe a way as we possibly can. It's probably going to be some lighting system that will announce when bicycles are on the bridge, because we know there are issues, and we want everyone to be safe. But we will have to address, obviously, the expansion joints and how those are crossed. We will have to address, again, how to ensure that bicyclists are safe when they're on this somewhat narrow two-lane bridge. But we've listened. I've heard you, and we are responding to the requests that you have made. And I want you to know that you have my commitment that we will continue to listen. We will continue to look for opportunities to make bicycling more available and more safe for those who choose to ride in Maryland, whether they reside here or not. So with that, I will, I'm sorry I'm on a pretty tight schedule here. I might have time for a couple questions. I'm looking at the back. Ed, am I okay? So if you have a couple questions, I'd be happy to answer those, and then I'm sorry I've got to scoot. Yes, ma'am.
What about funding for the Nice Bridge, where 301 crosses into Virginia in Southern Maryland?
Any other questions? All right, so what about funding for the Nice Bridge? That project is somewhere in the range of $1 billion. The authority, Transportation Authority, has had within its plans to go up to design, but there have never been funds available for construction. And so we are in that same place today. We are continuing with right-of-way acquisitions. We are continuing with the design of a bridge. But as of today, and I have to tell you, I don't know where the funds would come from out of the authority to pay for roughly $1 billion bridge. I can share a number with you as well, which was the cost estimate to add a bicycle lane on a new bridge at the Nice Bridge location would be around $90 million. So, big dollars. I'll share another one if you think for a new bridge across the Chesapeake Bay, bicycle lane, probably be in the range of $200 million to add a bicycle.
It'll get used.
Yes, sir.
Can you talk a little bit about practical design and what that might mean for creating, say, bicycle networks?
Okay, that's probably not something everybody's very familiar with, but practical design says we need to be looking at our system rather than just projects. And so we need to make decisions that prioritize the need of our system over the wants of a project. And so the goal is to be able to then construct more and improve our system further. I don't believe it is any specific impact to incorporation of bicycle lanes or anything else, but there is an issue about right-of-way costs when we're looking at projects. So those all will have to be weighed, but I don't think on its own that the idea that practical design means we don't deal with bicycles. So I can give you a number though, is that I just got it this morning. Practical design has to date delivered about $155 million in cost reductions within our program. Obviously that's a lot of money, and then that means we can fix more things wrong with our system. Hi. Tim.
Hi, Mr. Secretary, I'm Tim O'Donnell. I'm a commissioner from the town of Emmitsburg in northern Frederick County. Thank you for being here, first of all. My question is an easy one, fear not.
Okay.
As part of our obligation as a municipality, and a small one, we have a comprehensive plan that meets the state standards, and they change from time to time. One issue that we've run into is funding appropriate planning for pedestrian facilities. That's a new component, and I'm wondering if it could be considered at the state level to make a resource such as a planner who has the pedestrian audit expertise available to smaller municipalities, because for us to remain viable in an outlying community, we have to have more accessibility, and that would include pedestrian access for people within town and to bring people from out of town as the economic development needs. So if there's any resource that could be in the future set up, we would appreciate it, because we don't have the means to do it as a community ourselves, and I know other communities similar in size have a challenge there too. So
Okay. Let me put that, see, Greg Slater's back here, and so that will be on a conversation list for Greg and I to get a full understanding of what that would mean and how we could assist local governments. And so that, I promise that will be a conversation that we're going to have. And then I would also like to say that I hate being called Mr. Secretary. So my name's Pete. Okay? I'm Pete. That's all you gotta do. That's all you gotta do. I'm not Secretary Pete, just Pete. So a couple more and then I've got to go. Yes, sir.
Yeah, in Montgomery County, the snow from 2.5 weeks ago has melted, except for where the state snow plows piled it up on the sidewalks, and there's still piles remaining on the sidewalks and the curb ramps. What do you think about sidewalks as a official storage area for snow?
Well, when you get 35 inches of snow, it's got to go somewhere. And sidewalks turn out to be not the responsibility of the state. And so sidewalks are a local responsibility.
Oh.
And hey, it is what it is. That's a local responsibility. And so local governments need to be involved in moving that away. I can't see back there, but yes.
So I was wondering, I know that bids are still out, still being evaluated, but I wondered if you could comment on bicycle and pedestrian requirements and plans in the Purple Line project.
I cannot.
All right?
Okay. I see a purple shirt.
Yes. In the same spirit of what you just announced for the Hatem Bridge, at the Nice Bridge, cyclists will currently be given a ride across the bridge by MDTA, but only by the maintenance division, which only works daytime hours. Given that the police force in MDTA has moved to having pickup trucks and SUVs in their mix, would you also consider directing the MDTA police to give rides to bicyclists outside of normal working hours?
Well, there's a lot of issues there. I can't say yes or no right now, but it's not the issue of whether the police can give rides, it's the issue that means you're riding your bike at night across or you would be using your bike at night.
It may be between hours of, say, 3 p.m. and 8 p.m. in the summer, it's still daylight.
I don't know, right? So my answer, I don't know. If you'll stick with that issue and press for an answer, I'll get you an answer. Yes, sir.
Yeah, Larry Shawn, Bicycle Advocates, Howard County and Howard County Public Transportation Board. Mine is really more of a request that to move beyond the spandex. I bicycled here today. I'm not wearing a stitch of spandex. That it really is for all of us, including people who are not young and wearing spandex, part of our transportation. So for the 60% who don't wear spandex.
There were some other hands. Yes, sir.
Andy Hamilton, East Coast Greenway Alliance, Mid-Atlantic Coordinator, and September 11th Trail Board member. I just want to thank you, Pete, and the entire administration for really, truly listening to the needs of the local communities there, and also for solving the largest gap, the largest issue on the entire East Coast for non-motorized transportation. It's really wonderful.
So if you hear that I've disappeared, go to MDTA and tell them you want to check trunks of cars somewhere. But, yes, ma'am.
Yes, I was wondering, I'm with the Annapolis Bicycle Club, and I was wondering if there were any plans on extending the WB&A trail from Anne Arundel County into PG County.
I have no idea. But we do have people that will be able to answer that. So I would urge you to have a conversation with Curtis, Eric as well. So, oh, well, good. So he says, shut up and get off the dais. So thanks everybody very much and appreciate it.